Well, thank you for joining us. Charles Racco, IBrandTV analyst, joins us now via the telephone. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having your show.
Okay. So let's start from the first story. I mean, you saw the story as, countries' consumption of petrol has risen to as high as 80 million, liters per day. That is huge from January consumption of 66, million liters per day as, given by the Minister of State for Petroleum, earlier in the year. So this is huge. Now, so talk to us the implication of this huge consumption.
Yes, well, we don't have any choice than to believe the officials that say this is what we consume on a daily basis. 18 million liters of PMS. And what is not important is not even the volume that we consume on a daily basis. It is the amount of money the government is spending when it comes to subsidies. From your report, we are talking about over 400 billion naira on a monthly basis of subsidy. For me, this is too high, and of course, we've always said it that subsidy will not do us any good. The earlier we remove the subsidy, the better for the average Nigerian. Coming to the volume that is being consumed, 80 million liters per day. Of course, NNPCL, the litre that the case is being now, cannot even give account of how this is being consumed. Because we are seeing cases where a lot of some of these products are being smuggled outside the country. You see the custom complaining. And like the average Nigerians cannot be paid, where some people will now go and sell the product outside the country, so that the government is paying this huge amount of subsidy on the monthly basis. Yes, my advice will be the custom to keep the borders very well. NNPCL Limited ensure and see if can give account as to the actual volume of this product consumed on the daily basis.
So in essence, what that means is that, the higher the consumption rate, then the higher the subsidy rate, right? That's what it means, isn't it? That's what you're saying.
Yes. Well, we are not even quarreling that. What we are saying, let the volume be to some extent reflect what we are actually consuming here in the country. And of course, the government saying that subsidy is okay. Then we all agree the economics of that subsidy is no longer tenable. The subsidy has to go, and of course, thank God this Agri government has said it that by June, of course, by June, they will not be in power, but it's obvious that the subsidy will go.
Well, we get to a follow-up story on this later, but let's quickly take this one now. If you look at the new directive from the NCC talking about Nigerian Communications Commission on the harmonized use of codes, it's looking like this is a new innovation from the Nigerian Communications Commission, looking at what they have done. So they are saying that there have been a harmonized numbers released out there. So instead of having different codes by different network operators, this of course will be used across board. So talk to us about this innovation.
Well, I think that is what is obviously recognized worldwide, and then this NCC is bringing that to local environment. That means the MTN, the Airtel, the Blue, and the Line Mobile, their subscribers will have one unit harmonized code for all their usage in terms of checking their bank accounts, buying data, shopping their credit and all that. Fine. As long as the technology can carry it, I don't have any problem with it. And of course, it is not going to have additional cost to we, the subscribers of these telecom companies. I think it's a very good development, and of course, if that is going to ensure that services are improved, broadband is improved, quality of the service is improved, I think it's a very good one, and we're encouraging all Nigerians to embrace it.
Okay, so let's quickly get back to our story earlier. This one perhaps is a follow-up on that story, looking at the fact that Nigerian NNPCL Limited, talking about Nigerian National Petroleum Company, asking or seeking about $32.61 billion to deploy in the overhauling of refineries, especially the one in Port Harcourt as well. So the question is, we've seen a situation where, the NNPC has, earmarked such amount of money in repairing, maintaining, and overhauling, and all of that. So, and we've not seen the impact, on that, what it was meant for. So the question is, what exactly is this, meant to achieve? That is one. Then the second one is that, how come this figure is so high in overhauling? Some people will say, look, instead of overhauling, why not build new refineries?
Yes, thank you very much, Frank, for that question. NNPCL Limited, if you look at it very well, it is amusing, or let me say amazing, funny, comical. We've not seen the refineries working, and you are coming up to tell us that you need over $32 billion to overhaul. Overhaul what? Refineries and what? Like you have said, these monies can be used to even build new refineries, and we have seen that government over time has no business being in business. So for me, that is not necessary. All the refineries should be privatized, sold out, so that we have people who have the competence to run this refinery. Yes, the government can have a stake in some of those refineries, then it should be left alone for the private sector. Taking that amount of money now to overhaul or doing what they call turnaround maintenance, for me, it is no longer necessary. We cannot continue this kind of thing. It is no longer tenable. And looking at our cash resources, we cannot waste our hard-earned money to embark on those kind of projects any longer.
And the reason why a lot of people are interrogating this new move, of overhauling the refineries is the same refinery, talking about Port Harcourt refinery in 2021. We remember when President Muhammadu Buhari, earmarked about 1.5 billion US dollars to overhaul the Port Harcourt refinery. And now we're coming up with about 32.6 billion US dollars, for the same project. So maybe it's time for us to begin to interrogate some of these figures, and maybe we're not doing enough to interrogate them. And so the question is, how come we're engaging in overhauling, but we're not seeing the impact? I think that's where the concerns are really.
Yes, I agree with you. You cannot come and tell us, okay, 1.5 billion for Harcourt refinery, now you're telling us 32.6 billion to overhaul all the refineries again. Like you have said, the media, civil society organizations, we need to interrogate NNPC Limited. Now you say it's a privately, it's a business or a privately run oil corporation, just like you have the Aramco of Saudi Arabia. For me, this does not look like an entity that is being run like a business. So the advice will be, those who are going to approve this money should not approve any funds for this current management of NNPC Limited. We cannot afford to waste our money and send it earlier. So for me, this should be what the legislators and everybody concerned in Nigeria should interrogate, and we should stop them from approving. And of course, I know they will not even get this far because it is no longer possible.
Maybe the conversation should start from how much does it take to build, a new refinery. Perhaps that is where we should start from. What's your position on that?
Yes, and of course, they will not tell us they're not aware of what it takes to build a modern, world-class refinery. They have that estimated amount. They know what can be done. So coming back to the talking about refurbishing, rehabilitating, or overhauling does not show any business sense. And we have a private sector that are willing to build these refineries on a business-like fashion, get their crude refine, and make it available. So yes, the government should be looking at building new refineries. And like I have said, I don't want to encourage the government to build new ones. Encourage private sector people. Give them a license to build these refineries and use those staff and enabler, creating that environment for those refineries to strive very well. Because ultimately, we want products to be refined in the country and made available to Nigeria.
Okay, let's take the last story just before we leave, and that's, of course, we head straight to the, take a look at what is happening on the global financial market. The failure of the SVB and the Signature Bank, in America as well, it's something that a lot of people say will have impact across the globe. So CBN is urging African regulators to avoid a bank failure, learning from the failure of SVB and, of course, that of Signature Bank. So talk to us about this. What lessons do you think we need to learn from this? And how fundamentally strong, just a moment, how fundamentally strong do you think Nigerian banks are?
Okay, thank you very much. The issue of bank failure is not new to our economy and all over the world too. And we also realize that the financial sector, where the banks play a major role, of course, we have said when they sleep, the economy catches them. So every CBN, we want to ensure that there is proper regulatory framework. That is, the Basel Accords that have been operating since, the banks should meet those requirements in terms of their liquidity, in terms of their ratios, which I believe Nigerian banks are already meeting. That's why we are not seeing the incidence of bank failure for quite some time. And we must commend the regulator, that is the CBN. When they see that the bank is going through some stress, these are stress testing in terms of their liquidity, you see the bank, even before the public is aware, the CBN is aware, they take over the bank, and after some time, they have a good buyer, and then they acquire that bank, and we see it moving seamlessly. Of course, we saw the case of Diamond Bank, which is taken over by Access, and so many others. But for this Silicon Valley Bank that failed, Silicon Valley has been doing so well. They are supporting technological innovation. And you see, finance is very delicate. What really happened in that Silicon Valley Bank was lack of diversification and the classic bank run. Those banks were just financing startups, technology startups, and they were not diversifying into other areas. And you know how risky this startup business is. That was what happened to the Silicon Valley Bank and the other banks. And these are very big banks in the US. So what we say, the message for our own banking system, our regulators, is to continue to ensure that we carry out periodic tests, periodic assessment, periodic check on our banking institutions. Anyone that is found not to be meeting the laid down measurement, of course, the necessary action has to be taken to ensure that people don't have a run on the bank and will see the stability of this banking sector. Because it's very key for any economy to move forward and develop. The banking system must be strong, reliable, and at the same time be ready to serve the people.
And talking about fundamentally strong, or how fundamentally strong, Nigerian commercial banks. Remember earlier in the year, we saw about in early February where, Fitch rating agency downgraded the Nigerian banks, So talk to us about that one as well. So why did you think that, Fitch rating downgraded Nigerian banks? I mean, Moody's also downgraded, the federal government with regards to borrowing and, of course, debt and all of that. So talk to us about, particularly with Fitch rating agencies downgrading of Nigerian commercial banks.
Okay, yes, of course, rating agencies have to do their job. From time to time, they rate this bank, and if there are issues, they are not saying these banks are going to collapse the next day. They are saying, you were doing this way better. You have come to this position. position. So what is expected that for those banks to tighten up and see how they can go back to that their optimal position. So these are ratings that will put the bank on their toes to make sure they do what is them right. So Fitch rating is good, and you can see after that rating, you see some of the measures of these banks are taking to ensure that they are going back to their position in which they were before. But the issue now for the Nigerian bank, why those ratings even change, we saw how our economy was doing, we saw how the cash issue has made some of these banks, there's no cash here and there. Not generally what is happening in the economy affecting these banks. Of course, there were issues of security. So these are some of the reasons why Fitch is with that kind of rating. And it now led for the monetary authorities to ensure that they stabilize the economy of the country. And of course, we will see the shift at the Fitch rating giving us a better positive outlook.
Okay. I think we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Charles Fakoha, IBrandTV senior analyst. Well, thank you for sharing your thought with us on those top headlines.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You're still watching Business Breakfast, coming to you live from our studio. Still to come, after the break, we turn our attention to the equities market as we look at the current negative sentiment dominating the market. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us.